Good morning and welcome to our webinar today. It's fantastic to have you all joining us. Looking forward to giving you all a little bit of insight into how you can manage your people with a modern payroll and workforce management application. In today's session, we've got a number of presenters with us today. Firstly, we have Julia Paddington, who is our team leader for payroll and workforce management. Julia will be giving us a demo around the MYOB Advanced Payroll module. We're also joined by Sophia Sun, who is one of our senior consultants for workforce management. And Sophia will be giving us a demo on the advanced workforce management module as well. I'm here today as your host, and I oversee our SAMAX, or our account management team within Kilimanjaro Consulting. In terms of a little bit of housekeeping, the webinar is expected to go for approximately 30 minutes. At the end of that, we will have a dedicated Q&A, question and answer time, for approximately 15 minutes. I do just encourage you to use your Q&A button, which is available in your Zoom toolbar throughout the session, just to submit any questions that you have. Within that dedicated time, we will actually go through all the questions that are raised and look forward to really delving a little bit deeper into any specific items that you want to explore. We will be recording the session as well, and we'll be distributing this to all attendees. In terms of the agenda today, we will go through just a little bit of a product overview in terms of the positioning of MYOB Advanced Payroll and MYOB Advanced Workforce Management within the MYOB Advanced Business Management System Suite. We'll then, of course, jump into the product demonstration and into our Q&A. Now, MYOB Advanced Payroll is a very broad application in terms of its feature set. It builds upon MYOB Advanced Business as an application. It has all of the benefits of MYOB Advanced Business in terms of the cloud hosting solution, browser-based, the modern security that we see, and lots of options in terms of the way that payroll can be configured. Now, Julie will go through with us in terms of a little bit of an overview of how the payroll application works, how it interacts within MYOB Advanced Business, and of course, how it also interacts with MYOB Advanced Workforce Management. In today's session, we do have companies joining us from both Australia and New Zealand. We won't go too much into the compliance aspects of MYOB Advanced Payroll, but suffice it to say that MYOB Advanced Payroll does support both Australian and New Zealand compliance requirements. There's a raft of features that are available from STP and STP Phase 2 through to IR, payday, filing, etc. If there are any specific questions that you have, please feel free to raise them within the Q&A, and we can tackle them outside of the session as well. In terms of MYOB Advanced Workforce Management, this application really supplements the features within MYOB Advanced Payroll, adding a broad number of features around onboarding, around rostering, around time capture, around award interpretation, and a broad feature set to support employees in terms of the mobile application. In today's demo, we're going to be going through both Advanced Payroll and Advanced Workforce Management, but we are aware that MYOB Advanced Workforce Management is a niche application that is specific to certain industries and particular areas where you have, particularly where you have a roster requirement or a time and attendance capture requirement or award interpretation requirement. For some of you, MYOB Advanced Payroll might be the solution of choice. You may not decide that MYOB Advanced Workforce Management is required for your particular circumstances. We will be demonstrating both applications today to give you an overall view of the way that the two can operate together. To talk through the product positioning in a little bit more detail, firstly, we do have quite a number of clients that operate just MYOB Advanced Payroll. We're building upon the MYOB Advanced Business application, adding MYOB Advanced Payroll as a module. And we can also enable the MYOB Advanced Payroll Employee Self-Service feature, which essentially is an extension of the MYOB Advanced app and adds those, essentially those employee self-service features around leave, requests, looking at accrued time, that whole approval process, looking at pay slips and that sort of data within the advanced application that you may well already be using today. The second scenario that we see is where organisations gain significant benefit from not only advanced payroll, but also workforce management. that instance, we're building upon the foundation of MYOB Advanced Business, with MYOB Advanced Payroll essentially being the pay processing application. And MYOB Advanced Workforce Management, where we're essentially managing the onboarding employees, the management of rosters, capture of time and attendance, the interpretation of that time, which then gets fed through into Advanced Payroll for pay execution. And without any further ado, I'm going to hand over to Sophia to take us through Advanced Workforce Management, and particularly just that flow from onboarding a new employee. Thanks, Sophia.
Thanks, Stephen. Hi, everyone. Workforce Management is a cloud-based module fully integrated into Advanced Payroll site. As Stephen just mentioned, it incorporates functionalities of paperless onboarding, timesheets, employee mobile app, award interpretation, etc. Today, I will walk you through these key functions. This is when we log into the Workforce Management. In the upper left corner is the company location hierarchy, which has been pre-configured based on company business requirements. Below that, we will see several reminders. For example, employee requirements. These are the expired licenses, qualifications, and visa report of your employees. Other reminders such as unapproved leave request, unapproved timesheets, unsigned documents which you have shared with your employees, etc. Below that, we can see several different important graphs suggesting key information about your business, such as the employee lateness reports. In the right-hand side, you can see the today staff, showing who have been rostered on your team and who are on shift and who have finished for the day. Now let's move on to onboarding. Workforce Management allows some generic and onboard setup. There are a lot of customizations such as a company logo, theming, inviting message, or the documents you want to share with your employees. Now I will take you through the full onboarding function. If we go to hire session here, under the status, we could track the status of the employee, whether they have completed the onboarding or is still in progress. If we go to hire session, invite, in here, we can enter the key details of our potential employee so they can be invited to join our company. We need to provide employee name, email address. This is the email address where the employee will receive the onboarding portal. And we need to provide employee position, location, etc. Permission group in the system refers to employee as a user, what they can do and can see. There are some default permission groups already set up in the system, such as employee, manager, or manager with specific functions, etc. But we could always customize our permission group based on your business requirements. We need to also provide employee type, pay information, reporting manager, etc. Once we click send, employee in their personal email account, they will receive an onboarding email like this. Firstly, they can see their basic information about their role, such as their position, reporting manager, etc. When they click go to onboarding, this directs their employees to the onboarding portal. Firstly, employees can see the job details. Employee can sign for the acknowledgement. At the same time, the systems capture the employee's IP address, which is categorized as electronic signature both in Australia and New Zealand. Give consent to terms and conditions. Firstly, employees need to provide their basic information of their personal details in it. And because I have pre-populated some fields of the employee details, click continue. In this page, employees can upload their personal identification documents, such as their visa status or their driver license, etc. In this page, employees can upload their qualifications. For example, you may require your forklift drivers to upload their driver's license. In here, you could also specify the expiry date. All these documents will be pushed back to the workforce management in the employee's master file. In this page, employee can do TFN declaration and medical liability declaration without submitting any manual form. In this page, employee can provide their bank details. It allows a split of percentage or amount. This will be pushed back to the advanced payroll side. In this page, for Australian employer, you may require employee to provide their super details. And for New Zealand employer, your employees will provide their key receiver information in here. These all linked to the database from the government. In this page, employee can provide their medical emergency contact in here. In the end, employees will access the documents which we have configured before we roll out this onboarding process. Employees could actually download here or print out these documents for their future reference purpose. And we could also customize the permissions of these documents in our onboarding customization process. For example, for specific job details or the job descriptions, you only want to share with a specific group of employees. These are all customizable. Once the employee have gone through all these documents, sign for the acknowledgement, in the end, employee can simply click this submit. This will let them finish the onboarding process. At the same time, employees will receive an email like this. This directly employees to start downloading the mobile app from the Apple Play Store, etc. And also employees can access their e-copies of their contracts, etc. in here as well. And at the same time, all the employee master file will be pushed through to both workforce management side and advanced payroll side. And Julia today, she will present to us as a perspective from a payroll administrator, what she will do and what she can see once a potential employee has been fully onboarded in this workforce management onboarding portal. Over to you, Julia.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Thank you, guys. Once all the employees have been onboarded through workforce management, they then are downloaded seamlessly to MYOB Advanced, the payroll module. Anybody who sees the screen probably recognizes this already. What I'll do is I'll go into the employees part, but this is for the payroll only. So when I go to the employee details, what we can do is in MYOB Advanced, we can set up emails that we can then have sent to the administrator to tell them that employees have been onboarded, and the payroll administrator can then come into the system and onboard those employees. I go and look for Mr. Sample as he's come through. Great. The first thing I need to do is to go and have a look at the onboarding actions. I can see here that there's a few problems, and it's telling me what those problems are before I start onboarding people. Superannuation is really important, and because that fund is not available in the payroll at the moment, I'm going to go in to the superannuation funds. This is linked directly with the ATO, and I can add a fund. I look for that fund simply by putting in the USI number. Once I've found the USI number, the fund comes up, and then I can add it with the supplier ID, the payment method, and the cash account. Normally that comes up automatically. Once that is done, I can then go back to my employees, find the specific employee that I want to onboard through the system. First thing I'm going to do is verify with the system that I've now onboarded that employee and sorted out any issues. I then make the employee active and save it. It's as simple as that. Of course, being a payroll person, I'm going to go and check a few things. Not that I don't trust everybody, but I like to make sure that all the information has come through correctly. So check for the payroll distribution, making sure that the employees will in fact get paid. I also check the employee start date. That can also be done through the organisation field as well. Once I've done that, taxation, very important. MYOB Advanced is single touch payroll phase 2 compliant already, which is fantastic. So once you've added all this information, the TFM will actually upload directly to the ATO once you do your single touch payroll. Any standard pay that I need to add, I will add them at this stage. Things like leave accruals, superannuation, and any standard earnings or deductions that the employee might get. Once that's done, I just need to sit back and wait for the people at Workforce Management to do all the employees' timesheets and leave approvals, etc., and send that to me so that they can get paid. So back over to you again, Sophia. Thank you.
Thanks, Julia. I will continue our journey in workforce management. I have logged in as one of our sample employee, Mr. Greg. And firstly, in the upper right corner, we can see that, for example, if your company has enabled this shift swap function, the employee can see the shift request from his colleagues. Besides, the employee could also access the personal details or other payroll details, as well as changing the password. And this is the dashboard of the employee mobile app. If we click on this roster tile, employees can see their upcoming rosters. When we click leave and availability tile here, employees can access their historical leave requests, which they have sent through to their managers, with the status showing as pending, approved, or declined. To apply for a new leave request, employees can simply click new request. Specify the date that they want to apply for leave. It can either be 1 day or a group of days or a half day. Then the employee can specify the leave type. These are all customizable. We could decide whether you want to share the leave balances with your employees for any type of leave. We need to provide a note for this leave request. In the supporting document upload area, employees can upload their, for example, medical certificate when they apply for sick leave. If they click next, submit, then the employee's leave request will be sent through to the manager approval portal. In this documents tile, employees can access the documents which has been shared from their managers or company administrators. In payroll tile, employees can access their historical payslips. In this clock in and clock out tile, employees can use this mobile app to clock in, clock out. Facial recognition is supported. Also, the GPS can show the administrator or the manager the specific location of the employees. If we click clock in, take a photo. In here, we could also insert any clocking questions you want. Click submit, submit and clock in. This will be pushed back to the manager's approval portal as well. Now let's navigate back to the workforce management PC portal as a manager. Firstly, managers or the company administrator can roster the employee, go to this roster function here. In here, we can see that we can view this roster page by different criteria, such as by employee, by location, etc., as well as by different date range. There are several options for us to roster our employees. We could either roster our employees by roster individual employee or by group of employees. For example, we can copy the shift from the previous time range to the upcoming time range, or we could apply the standard hours which has been set up in the employee's master file to this roster page. Another quite useful function in the system is we could specify the required qualifications for a specific roster. For example, you may require this roster to be rostered to someone who holds a forklift driver license. Only the employees meeting the specific requirements can be assigned to this roster. Now let's navigate to leave function here. Managers could edit, approve, or decline the leave request which has been sent through from the employee's mobile app. Managers could also apply for leave on behalf of the employee. And we could also see this leave request in the calendar view under your team. Yep. And now let's navigate to timesheets function here. In here, we can see these are the timesheets which has been sent through from the employee's mobile app. And these are the clock in and clock out entries or the approved leave request from the managers. And the managers could edit, approve, or decline the leave request and the timesheets in this timesheets function here. Managers could also bulk select the employees and to do a bulk approval. Based on your company procedures, you may need a higher level managers for the authorization of the timesheets so that the payroll administrator could commit these timesheets to payroll and add to a payroll. And because in the system, we've got the payrolls set up. For the Australian employer, these payrolls can be set up based on your company award or EBAs. And for New Zealand employer, any payrolls or allowances can be configured in this function as well. And these payrolls will be linked to the employee's timesheets. Once a timesheet has been pushed to a payroll, these payrolls calculation will be automatically applied. If we click payroll and click payroll here, in here, we could see the award interpretation with the pay item has been integrated into the specific values. Once we click finalize, these timesheets will be synchronized to advanced payroll site. And now let's welcome Julia again, and she will show us what she will do and what she can see once the timesheets has been finalized from the workforce management side.
Thank you very much, Sophia. Let's go back to payroll. Now, once everything is done from workforce management, that would feed through to payroll almost immediately. At that stage, the payroll administrator might have other things to do with payroll first, but in the timesheet batches, they could go in and check and make sure that everything that is required to be paid has come down. At this stage, they could also map the imported items. These items make sure that whatever is mapped with workforce management comes down and is mapped again in payroll. Once we've done that, we would then go to manage pays. Now, at this stage, you can have as many payroll groups as you wish in advanced. You can have one fortnightly or many fortnightly, one weekly, many weekly, and so forth. You can also have your payroll group set up depending on your companies. So I'm not sure how many of our attendees here already use Advanced, but as you know, Advanced can be configured to have one tenant with many companies, or you can have many tenants. But in this respect, we can have one payroll for many companies, or you can have one payroll per company. It really is up to you how you want to deal with it. At this stage, I'm going to open my fortnightly company. My pay period automatically picks up from the previous pay run. However, at this stage, I can still change that as well. As a matter of fact, I can change those dates once I get into my pay run as well. Once I've done that, I say, okay, anybody who is linked to my fortnightly payroll is immediately pulled into my pay run as per their standard pay rules. So whatever is set up in your standard pay will come through. At this stage, you can see the pay run. This is a beautiful blue hyperlink. So whenever you click on it, it takes you where you need to go. And also you've got your physical pay date start dates. And I can see who created this pay run when. And I can also see up front already what the gross taxable and the net pay may be. Once I pop into my payroll, I can see everybody in here. I can also see what the gross taxable is. And if I open that up, I get to see how many employees are in the current pay run. I can also put a payroll message on. You know what they say, always read the small fine print at the bottom of your payslip. I can dump this into Excel and have a look at it. But the first thing I really want to do is import my timesheets. Once I click on import timesheets, that will bring all the timesheets that have already been downloaded to payroll into the specific pay run for the specific people on those specific dates. Now, just want to mention here quickly, if you are not using workforce management, that's not a problem with their leave. We have a employee self-service portal within Advanced. And at this stage, once you've done everything that you needed to do for ESS, you could then go in and you could import the leave. Okay, but we're using workforce management. Once I've imported all my information from workforce management, it doesn't mean that I can't make any changes, because I absolutely can. I can go in and make changes. I might need to do a deduction. Let's see if I've got, for example, child support. I might need to put a child support in. I might need to put leave in. You might have those frantic knocks on the doors or those frantic phone calls to say, I forgot to put my overtime in, or you can still go in and make the changes. Obviously, it depends on your company processes, how you want that to be. Once I've imported everything and I've run my payroll and I've checked my payroll, I need to go and actually print my report. So we have here very basic information. You can dump that into Excel. Payroll has many, 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 many reports. And as you can imagine, again, any of you who've already used Advanced, you can create generic inquiries and we can create reports that suit your company. It just depends on what you want to see. We've got some basic reports, a pay summary, and you can see all the pay slips. Again, we will go through this with you depending on your processes. Once you've checked your payroll, the next thing we need to do is process it. Now, this gives you a little warning saying that once you press process, you can't go back. I'm okay with that. I'm happy that my payroll is correct. And here I have the option to complete or cancel that pay run. Once I hit complete, it doesn't mean that that's it. I can still reverse the pay run if there's anything wrong. If I hit complete at this stage, it's going to say, you want to complete it? I'm going to say, yes, I do. Now, at this stage for Australian payrolls, this is the action that will start sending the information to Single Touch Payroll via the ATO. And you'd get a little box up here that says, yes, I agree that everything's correct. We tick it and off it goes. After this, and at this moment, once you've done this, it starts creating your ABA file and also sends the information to the finance team. Depending on how all your finance is set up, it will send it to the GL codes and the correct sub-accounts in finance. Because my payroll is set up to pay more than one company in a pay run, that's why I've got two ABM files, or ABA files, apologies. At this stage, I'm going to export my file. It creates the bank file. I can then upload it to the bank. Once I've paid everybody, I can then come back into the screen and release my batch, which is the batch that is linked to the payroll. I've now released my batch, and that will be in the finance side under my journal transactions. At this stage, depending on what system you're using, with workforce management, the employee goes to have a look at his pay slips. He can look at his pay slips and see, and obviously check that the money's in the bank correctly. There's a few other functions within the system. For New Zealand, you can upload any reporting requirements to your IRD. And with Australia also, depending on, you can create your superannuation batch. There's two options for you here. The superannuation batch, you can either send it directly through to your clearinghouse if you're using an outside clearinghouse, or if you want to use the MYOB Pay Super portal, you just create the batch, hit a button, and off it goes through to the MYOB clearinghouse themselves and distributes that money for you. On a whole, I know that that's not really the end of payroll, because payroll people do a lot of other things, but that's what I have for you today. If there's any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. We're absolutely here to help you. Thank you very much. Stephen, over to you.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Spot on time, Julie and Sophia. Fantastic job there. And we've already got some questions that have come through from those that are attending, but please don't hesitate to ask more questions as we go. We've got a good amount of time reserved for some questions here. So I want to ask Sophia and Julia just to come back on, ready to ask some questions, because I want to hit you with the good stuff. There's just a first question here in terms of a couple of workforce management questions specifically. The question here from Trish: is it possible to use workforce management for onboarding and documents or licenses that need to be updated, but not utilize it for time cards or rostering? In a little bit more specifics there, they currently do time cards through time and expenses, which are linked into projects in Advanced. Julia, did you want to talk to that one?
Absolutely can, yeah. Trish, as far as I'm aware, you can absolutely only use the onboarding side and use your time cards as you do in the time and expenses, which is linked to your project. So that's not a problem. The only question that I have there for you is, how do you currently pay your leave at the moment? So that would be something that you could perhaps do through workforce management as well.
Just to add to that, Advanced Payroll and Workforce Management are very configurable, customizable solutions. We find that no two organizations are alike. Everyone has specific requirements that they need. A big part of our implementation process is actually going through the design in terms of what that looks like, how those modules interact, how that needs to be configured to support you and support your business. And that's certainly an element we could work through for you, Trish. Another question here around workforce management. Thank you, Angela. There will always be award upgrades in the new financial year, so we need to manually update employees' pay rates en masse at that time. How can workforce management help with this? Sophia, did you want to jump in on that one?
Yep. Thanks for your question, Angela. There are actually several ways to achieve your goal. Firstly, in workforce management, we've got pay levels to be configured based on your company pay award or your company pay rules. And we could assign these pay levels to your employees' individual must file. And once there is an award upgrade, we only need to update the pay level in the workforce management, and the timesheets has been finalized, for example, and the pay rate which has been attached to the pay level can be pushed through to the advanced payroll as well. And for example, if you want to update there are also other options for you. For example, if in payroll, advanced payroll side, we can do an importing scenario for you as well. So there are several ways to achieve your goal.
Now just keep your questions coming. Last call for questions. Another question here in terms of workforce management as to whether workforce management currently includes any performance management tools. I might just address that one. This is an area where MYOB is doing quite rapid development around the workforce management application. There's a lot of work being done in terms of particularly integrations. So we're seeing on the roadmap over the next few quarters, integration into performance management, into recruiting management, into learning management systems, a whole suite of areas to broaden out that functionality. So performance management isn't available today, but is on the roadmap for release shortly. Question here from David. If changes are made in advance, will employees see those changes in workforce management? And the example there is if you adjusted leave balances. Absolutely, David. The leave that is recorded within advanced payroll is the source of truth that flows back into advanced workforce management. So when employees look at their leave balances, If you want to see them or not is a question in terms of the configuration, but if you want them to see them, they can actually see that leave balance within the Advanced Workforce Management app when they apply for leave. Let's not get into that tricky question of do you show employees the sick leave or personal leave? We'll leave that one for another day. Another question here, Julia, specifically for you, this one. How do we review or update employee costing allocations? And can we also capture project costing allocations? Does that give you enough information, Julia? I think we're talking about perhaps pay classes and how payroll information is fed through into the GL and sub-accounts, etc.
Yeah, that is a little bit of an open-ended question, to be honest with you, because in Advanced, where we've got projects and time cards feeding into payroll, etc., there is many ways to actually deal with that. In payroll, we do have something called the expense allocation. So it actually depends on how you want your system to work. We have for employees that we link to posting classes are linked to sub-accounts and GL codes. But there is a portion there in the expense allocation where, depending on the project, we can reallocate those expenses. So I'm not sure if that's quite answering the question, Stephen. I think it needs a bit more information, to be honest, but I hope it's giving you a little bit.
Thank you so much, Julia. That's fantastic. Now, in terms of next steps, we certainly recognise that every organisation is unique, and the way that we apply advanced payroll and advanced workforce management to your needs is going to very much come down to the requirements of your business. Exactly like the way in which we configure MYOB Advanced Business, we need to understand your needs, understand the way that you manage your human resources, what that looks like, and work through a specific design to meet those requirements. If you can see my screen there, in terms of next steps, if you'd like to sort of continue the conversation around how advanced payroll and workforce management could suit your needs, we'd encourage you to reach out to your account manager or to email us at samax@kilimanjaro-consulting.com, and we'd be more than pleased to work through those requirements with you. So without anything further, I think we've hit the last of those questions. I'd like to thank you all for attending. Thank you so much, Julia and Sophia, for your wonderful presentations today. The demonstration was fantastic and perfect time, almost as if you rehearsed it. Great job. Thank you all. We look forward to continue the conversation from here. Have a fantastic day.